Hello everyone and welcome to Autodrome St-Eustache for the third round of the Liqui Moly Pro Sportbike National Championship Series. I'm your series announcer, Frank Wood. Today's race is brought to you by Dalton Timmis Insurance, Honda, Magneti Morelli offered by Mopar, Drift, and Dunlop.
Unbelievably hot here at St-Eustache, just northwest of Montreal, as we get ready to send our Pro 600 middleweight type riders out for their one warm-up lap.
Riders are on the grid according to their qualifying session, of course, and fast qualifier Tommy Casas on the number one bike. He's the defending champion from 2017, winning that championship for Yamaha, and he has the mandate to return that plate to Yamaha and keep it on the front of an R6.
There we're on board with Mitch Card, who's on the far left of the shot now. We had a good look at several of the onboard drift cameras that'll be covering the action from St-Eustache, a track where essentially you never get a moment to rest. You're busy riding the whole time. And I'm certainly going to be focused on Tremblay in the middle of the front row there. He's returned to the series full-time, but now no longer in Superbike, in the sport bike class on a Kawasaki, and has shown well, had a little bit of bad luck there. We can see Tremblay again, and I'm looking for big things from him at his home track.
Yeah, he's had some tough luck. That crash that took him out of a podium position at Shannonville, and of course he was notable in his absence at Grand Bend Motorplex. So yeah, great to be back in Quebec. And another rider that's done well here is Louis Raffa. And as a matter of fact, Louis Raffa scored his one and only win right here at St-Eustache just a few years back. And
we saw that Demray, a rookie pro, is on pole in row 3 in his third pro national race, so that's a very good effort. Now we look at the first two rows. Grid here is 3-2, same as it was at Grand Bend in our last race. Kazaz got that pole. Tremblay put some pressure on. We had a red flag late in that qualifying session, so they didn't get to go right to the end, and I think it was 2/10 between first and second. Of course, Card has been a contender at the races so far, so we're expecting a close race here, and the pace certainly has been very similar amongst the top 4 or 5.
Tommy Casas and Mitch Card on those Yamahas, those two, of course, have been going at it for the last couple of years, and they certainly showed that they're probably going to go at it again in this national championship finals, according to their qualifying times.
And you can see the grid positions look a little odd compared to what we usually have. It's because everybody's trying to stay off the drag strip start line and get onto pavement, not onto rubber. And you can see McKay, who almost won at Grand Bend, is on the second row, doing very well with his Kawasaki ZX6R Ninja. Here we go, Frank.
The Pro 6 cycle countdown clock goes down. All the lights are on. When they go off, the field launches, and they are away and running. And it looks like Card got the call on that one. Mitch Card, beautiful start on the Fast Company R6. Here comes Tommy Casas and immediately takes the lid. Holy lordy, I thought Card had a really good start there, but Tommy Casas erased that going into one.
And I bet Card was thinking, man, here I go. And Kazaz must have gone in 10 meters deeper right off the bat. And yes, the tires have come off warmers, and yes, they've done a warm-up lap, but wow, was that great from Kazaz. Now on board with Tremblay's Kawasaki. He's
Card.
Watching the move.
Card got a little bit of a draft pull there, and Tommy Casas will not accept that for a moment as he immediately returns the favor. You could see that call. The Card had made the pass, and Tommy came right back on him.
Well, Kazaz and Card is definitely something we've seen a lot of. Last year it was a great story, but Kazaz is getting a little annoyed hearing about how fast Card's Yamaha is, and I think Kazaz is out to prove something here at St-Eustache.
Tremblay is with them too. Sebastian Tremblay, the shaker, he is right with Card. He's all over Card, as a matter of fact. As we're looking back right now from the Parts Canada, Yamaha Canada R6 of Tommy Casas. Here's a great shot of them going through the carousel.
And I think that's McKay in fourth, and then Rafa. And there's one more rider at the back there, and I think that might be Demray. So
I think you're right on that, Demray. Yeah, the rookie pro rider on the number 17 rider. Boy, he's showing a lot of potential. I think that kid's going to, one of those names we're going to be mentioning often in the future, Colin.
Strong amateur last year, good start. I think he's leading the rookie pro standings, which are calculated in Superbike. But right now, Kazaz on this R6, a new bike this season, is really showing a clean pair of heels, and that's well over a second. These laps are very short, and it was completely unexpected that anyone would ever get this far in front over the whole race.
Yeah, no kidding.
On board here with Card, and this is bad news, right? I mean, the wide-angle lens on the drift camera does accentuate the gap, but he is not in touch with our leader.
Well, not only that, he also has some very close company in behind him. Sebastian Tremblay and, as you mentioned, David McKay as well, and Demaray, they're all stacked up behind him, and that's allowing Tommy to really get away with this one. This is more like Jordan Zoke in a Superbike race the way Tommy's riding right now.
Coming through the bowl there, very confident riding coming out of Kazaz, and he's just hitting his marks really smooth, no panic, no extra aggression, making the tires work for him. And now we're on board, and I think this is Rafa, and he's got, okay, so Card is actually dropped back now, and I believe that's Tremblay, right?
Yes,
over the
Tremblay has gathered him
S's.
up, you're right. Tremblay has moved into second spot. Missed that one, my apologies. And now we're on board with Mitch Card once more, having a look at Tremblay. And now we're looking back at Louis Rafa as he comes in right on the back wheel of Mitch Card. He is all over him now as they come out of the carousel. We'll see whether Rafa... Oh, you're not supposed to look back.
Well, it's about time we mentioned that Card had a crash in qualifying, and he has a very sore foot. So getting mixed up in this and getting scrubbed off from Kazaz, guy he expects to race with all the time, that is not helping. Rafa really on form, leading the charge for fourth. But this is Tremblay pulling clear. Now, can he get to the leader? I don't know, because the pace is hot. But good for Tremblay. He is a solid second and has got rid of the pack in no time.
In Card's crash, Colin, and he had actually lost a coolant line, apparently, that spread coolant all over his back tire, and he went completely sideways, right about there, as a matter of fact, got pitched off the high side. So, yeah, he is a hurting puppy, and look out now, because Louis Rafa is moving right in on him. Card's position in third, his potential podium position is being seriously threatened here.
And the points are a big consideration, right, because we're expecting another championship battle between Kazas and Card. And we're on board with Rafa. He lives quite near this track, has a lot of time, and he is riding really aggressively in a good way, and I think Card is going to be hard-pressed to hang on to third.
Rafa having a look on the inside of those two corners on the right-hander coming in to the infield section there, and again to the infield, to the inside, rather, I should say, of the left-hander that followed.
In the world of modern racing, the hotter it is, the wider range of tires will work, and we have a number of Dunlops that suit these sport bikes. They changed the slicks last year, and if you look not far behind here, so this is, we're looking at third and fourth, but fifth and sixth, McKay and Demaray, two young up-and-coming riders, both on Kawasaki's, are right in this discussion, and I would bet that they're thinking no reason to rush. Let's see what happens with Rafa first.
And this may be a coming-out party for Demaray. This is the first time. Oh, look at Rafa now trying the outside line going into the infield section there. He looks to the inside once more. There is no chances there, but he takes another quick look on the inside just before they come out onto that drag race section of the race course. And again, Rafa doing a good job. Notice how he's tagged right in behind Mitch Card, and if there is any advantage of a slight draft there, he's going to have that opportunity.
And Card doesn't look comfortable. I think he knows he needs to get points out of this. He can't afford to drop a lot to our leader and our reigning champion, but he is not relaxed on the motorcycle, and this is a track where you really need to flow. You're busy riding all the time, and we head onto the straight, and of course this is a place where Card's fast company Yamaha does very well.
He knows full well, of course, that Louis Rafa is there. Louis is a bit charged up coming into this weekend.
Well, look at Rafa gobble him up with the brakes there.
Having done well here before, he won in the rain here actually a few years back, as you'll remember, and once you've won at a racetrack, you know yourself from racing, Colin, that once you've handled that racetrack, you can come back with a great, bit of a moment there for Rafa. You can come back with a little bit more confidence than perhaps
what's
the other
interesting
field.
here is McKay, with very little opportunity to ride at this track, not much experience. He is right behind Rafa, who has the most experience, would know the bumps and the grooves and all the things to track. As you can see, Rafa trying everything to get by Card, and it's to the point where he just needs to bite his lip and go and do it, right? The pass is there, he just has the confidence, but of course right here is the bad spot. He loses a couple of bike lengths under acceleration. That Card Yamaha is a bullet.
Meanwhile, of course, we are viewing the race within the race, keeping Rafa right up on him there. Keeping in mind that Tommy Kass has gone for a ride up front, and Sebastian Tremblay, the shaker, is trying to chase him down. But now we have this group of four fighting for the final potential podium position here. I was going to comment on Demaray. Demaray's probably had a little bit of saddle time around this place.
Yeah, and Demaray hasn't put put too many wheels wrong so far this year, and it's the hardest thing to make those steps when you're a rookie pro, and he's getting the laps in, getting the finishes, gaining the points, and that's very important. Interesting mix of bikes, right? We have a Yamaha in the lead, Tremblay and the Kawasaki second, and then we're watching Yamaha, Honda, Kawasaki. So maybe the best mix of bikes at the front in several years.
Quite so. The Kawasaki of Demaray's certainly seems to be equal to McKay's, although we note that Demaray has fallen off the pace very well, maybe not so much. He's at that portion. There goes Louis Raffin to the inside. Beautiful pass, well executed. And look at here now, as Card returns the favor almost immediately. This was similar to what happened with Casas and Card a little earlier on. So Card refuses to give up that position and going on the defensive now, I would suggest. As you mentioned, Colin, he's starting to calculate points. We're halfway through the season.
Well, I think what happened is Card just bobbled. It's so easy in that turn. It's a really tricky corner and very awkward to get that launch onto the front straight. Rafa made the move. He pounced, but he went offline, and that opened the door on the exit. So frustrating for Rafa. He's all over, and Card is struggling, and Card made that slight mistake, but I can't help but think Rafa's even more motivated now.
Quite so. He does a magnificent job coming off the back straightaway into
Look at him squared up on the brakes there.
Stadium section of this race course. That seems to be his key advantage there. Now let's compare the horsepower here between this Yamaha R6 and the Honda CBR 600RR as they come down the front straightaway and go into the switchback 1, 2, and 3.
Well, the Yamaha engine built by Scott Miller and Fast Company. Over the years, Rafa has had a number of engines built by the same people. McKay's bike behind is an engine built by Fast Company. So actually, I better be careful. I think Demaray might be in front of McKay now.
Did he make the move?
I'm not sure, but we're back on board with Rafa, who's trying his hardest to work the slipstream, and he's much closer than he's been on previous trips.
I would be a bit surprised if Demaray has indeed caught up to McKay, because McKay had some distance on him, and a couple of laps ago he was commenting. Yeah, no, McKay is still there. McKay is there. Demaray is still running back in fourth in this group. And again, this is the race within the race. This is great stuff.
Onto the front straight, going between the drag race lines. And then we have this complicated S's that Rafa really charges into with confidence. A little bit of elevation change, a little bit of tricky camber. And you can just see that Card's not hitting his marks. He's a little bit wide on the transitions. And Rafa looking on the inside of this big carousel. And then, of course, this is the key part, the launch onto the back straight. Oh, look at that.
Big moment for Louis Rafa as he got lifted out of the saddle.
That was a close call, and you know, that's a good moment for Card, I guess we'd have to say.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That put Louis into big eye territory on that one, and it has definitely been to Card's advantage. I was going to ask for some input, Colin. When Card goes past that place where he had that nasty crash, is that going through his mind?
No, I think he has enough experience. He knows that that's just part of racing. But, you know, we were debating about Demaray. Something happened to him. He just got scrubbed off this group. So in that last lap, Demaray has been, you know, close, and now he's not there, right? So he's dropped back.
So.
And I would have said for sure that Rafa should be by now, but I don't know how this is going to play out, and Rafa's had a couple of close calls with that Honda.
Well, Demaray is a pro rookie. You know, this is a learning sequence for Demaray, and he was definitely going to school on McKay for quite some time. And as you mentioned, we thought at one point that perhaps he had caught McKay, and that's making a statement. McKay is a very fast rider.
Yeah, McKay's climbing the ladder. He's due for a win, and we expect to see it soon. But always worth mentioning, Kazaz out in the lead, and very hard to do in this class, very unusual to build a big lead. Normally we're watching him battling with somebody or a couple of somebodies for the lead, and Tremblay got clear in second, so it's fun to watch this battle, but of course we're watching the race for the final podium spot right now.
Quite so. Louis Rafa there, we see that Bickle Racing sticker on the front fender. He enjoys support from NGK spark plugs as well. He had an unfortunate incident with one of his supporting sponsors who, for whatever reason, had to drop out. But NGK has been strong with him for a number of years now, and they have stepped forward to be the #1 represented company in Louis Rafa's sponsorship package.
You can see Card uncomfortable coming off the backstretch, and it looked to me like he was trying to hang that leg out a bit, and that wasn't a Grand Prix dangle. That was a my leg hurts dangle, you know, just trying to stretch it a little bit on the foot peg. Through most of this track, you're steering so much with your feet, pushing so hard on the foot pegs, and when you've got an uncomfortable foot, and we anticipate he's probably broken a couple of bones, it's going to be very hard as the race progresses.
Here we are up front now with Tommy Casas. Let's go for a ride with the champion as we dispose of Danny Ehret on the Triumph 675 on the back straightaway, and see if we can pick up on the road. That's Mike Raniowski, the Belleville, Ontario rider, and he leaves the door wide open there. He did receive a blue flag going into the stadium section, so nice move by Raniowski. He held his line, but also widened up that gap a little bit and let Tommy through.
And what Kazaz wants to see, if he can, is one back marker at a time. That way you can time it, you don't have to panic. But the best thing he's got is a margin in the lead. So if you need to be careful for a turn or two and make the safest pass, you can do that. And of course, we've seen at this track, if you encounter the leaders in traffic, all kinds of crazy things can happen. But there you can see Tommy, and this is a year ago his win here was a huge step for him.
Yes.
But look at this. This is the kind of performance we do not see very much in this class.
Yeah, 2 years ago, Tommy stuffed it into the air fence in the carousel, so he certainly learned from that one. He'd been progressing, getting faster and faster, it seems, with every outing. We commented about the difference between the Fast Company Yamaha of Mitch Card and the Yamaha that Tommy Casas is riding, and I know that thing has spent some time at Brooklyn Cycle Racing and has been on the dyno, so he's had some help. 2 laps to go, Colin. Here we are.
Yeah, into the S's, nice and smooth. He's not hustling quite the way he did. Of course, the Dunlops are pretty hot. Can't overstate how hot the day is here. It's just crazy hot and humid. But as I said, with modern racing tires, what we have from Dunlop, that actually opens up the choices and gives you more things that you can opt to do. And there's always a little bit of speculation who chose what and why, but it sure looks like he made the best choice because he got going really fast at the start of this race.
Quite so. Tommy Casas, by the way, I spoke to Sandy Noche from Dunlop Tires. Tommy did go with the super soft rear tire, whereas Mitch Card selected the soft tire. So there is a difference in compound between those two riders, but I don't think that has a great deal to do with their positioning on the racetrack right now.
I hate to make excuses or diminish what Kazaz is doing here, but Card is just not 100%, and he's trying to salvage points. And of course, Tremblay is due for some success too. But this Tremblay finishing between them is not good news for Card if he can hang on for third, which is not a gimme.
Quite so. Tremblay, unfortunately, has not been able to gather up Tommy Casas. Tremblay on the Kawasaki ZX6R, and Tommy Casas, of course, on the Yamaha R6.
Coming to the oval for the last time, no pressure. You see in the background there, not a single motorcycle. You can see some of the crowd in the pit lane keeping an eye on Tommy as he finishes it up. And just about, look at that, he had just a little look back just to make sure, no surprises, but no drama.
Checkered flag, and Tommy Casas has scored victory in this round 3 of the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike National Championship. And here comes Mitch Card, and I think that's David McKay behind him there. And
so something's happened with Rafa.
Quite so.
So here's Kazaz coming into the pit lane to get his checkered flag from the staff. There's our starter, Chris. And he certainly knows Kazaz well from his successes at Shannonville Motorsport Park.
Yeah, that's where he began it all. Franklin Dominguez there conferring with him as well. Franklin had a lot to do with Tommy's initial racing here in Canada. And it looks like he's actually passed up on the checkered flag, Colin. Is it that hot?
Some concerns about fuel. I think he wants to make sure his bike can run on the official Series Dyno Jet Dyno. But he's been winning long enough. He's not embarrassed about putting on a bit of a show, so we get the unbridled attention. So look at our results. Kazaz takes the win from Tremblay. Card hangs on for third, which was something. McKay, fourth. Very good here at St-Eustache. Rafa can't be happy with fifth when he could easily have been third, and he tried everything. Desmarais, a solid sixth from Liveland. Alexander Guy, Mike Raniowski, not bad in ninth, joining the series for the first time this year, and Danny Ehret, 10th on his Triumph.
Mitch Card, you had a great race out there. These guys were gone, of course, but you had a terrific tussle on your hands.
Yeah, me, David, and Louis, we all were battling it out there, and my foot's pretty sore, and I had a few moments. I think everyone had a few moments out there. The track's smoking hot right now, so, I mean, the soft tires held on as hard as they could, and they felt great. I almost should have went for the extra soft, but we'll definitely have to make some better planning for next year. And you know, the weather kind of caught us off guard totally. It was an awesome weekend. The weather, the fans, everyone, thanks for coming.
We now wander over to this side of the podium. Boy, there was a lot of people wanted to see you win this race, Sebastian, but I think they'll be satisfied with a second spot. Terrific ride.
Yeah, I had a decent start, but like two guys beside me were like just flying over. So I had to battle with Mitch Card a bit, and he had a big moment at the end of the back straightaway. So like Thomas Cassis checked out a little bit on us. So when I got by him, it was difficult for me to reach that gap back.
Boy, you went for a ride by your own self today, Tommy.
That was my plan. Just get a good start, put my head down. This heat was killing us, absolutely killing us. I had a nice little back and forth in the first lap with Mitch, but unfortunately he's injured, so he battled through this one pretty hard. And Sebastian, I expected a good battle. He was setting fast times with me yesterday and today, but unfortunately they weren't able to keep up today. And we'll expect some more close racing in the future. But I had a blast out there, and I want to dedicate this race to little Jackson, Jason's son. Jason helped us a lot in the beginning of my career, and this one's for him, for the little guy.
Well said, Tommy Casas. Ladies and gentlemen, ever since I turned 40, my hearing's been going a little bad, so I wasn't sure if that was a loud enough cheer. Can you do it again for all three riders, please? Mitch Card, Sebastian Tremblay, and Tommy Casas.
Looking at our points with 3 rounds done and 4 to go, and Kazaz is starting to pull away. Card will need a strong weekend at the doubleheader at Atlantic Motorsport Park. Very good third for Rafa. Rookie pro Demaray up to 4th from Tremblay and McKay, all on Kawasaki's. Hornblower missed this round. Eric doing well on the Triumph, and Vieira unfortunately couldn't compete on his Yamaha because he was at his grandmother's funeral.
Well, that about wraps it up from round 3 here at Autodrome St-Eustache. As you mentioned, Colin, our next stop on the circuit will be the double headers down at Atlantic Motorsport Park in Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia, just a little bit north of Halifax. That coming up in just a couple of weeks' time. So on behalf of the entire CSBK crew, I offer you my thanks for being with us, and we look forward to talking with you again soon. Today's race is brought to you by Dalton Timmis Insurance, Honda, Magneti Morelli offered by Mopar, Drift, and Dunlop.